Hello everyone, and thank you for joining. Today I want to explain something very practical that helps both your team and our team. How to report an issue or a change request in Odoo with the right information from the start. We have noticed that many support requests come in with too little detail. Very often we know that something is wrong, but we do not yet know where it happens, what exactly the user was doing, which customer or document is involved, or what the exact error message says. That means we first have to spend time asking follow-up questions before we can even begin analyzing the problem. In many cases, the actual solution takes less time than finding out what the problem really is. So this presentation is about one simple goal: helping you report issues in a way that allows us to help you faster and more accurately. The biggest problem is not always the issue itself. The biggest problem is often the lack of context. For example, we receive messages like, "Odoo is not working," "I get an error," "This invoice is wrong, can you fix this?" The system does something strange, but from those messages alone, we cannot immediately see in which app the user was working, which menu or screen they were on, which record was involved, what actions they performed before the problem occurred, whether it is a one-time issue or something repeatable, and whether there is a visible error message. Without that information, we lose time going back and forth. When a ticket contains complete information from the beginning, several things improve immediately. First, we can identify the issue much faster. Second, we ask fewer follow-up questions. Third, the solution is delivered sooner. And finally, both sides avoid frustration. In other words, good information does not just help us, it helps you as the customer, because your issue is solved more efficiently. To make support efficient, we ask you to always include 6 key elements. First, tell us where in Odoo the issue happens. For example, sales, invoicing, inventory, CRM, purchase, studio, helpdesk, or accounting. Second, explain what you were doing just before the issue appeared. Describe the steps, not just the outcome. Third, mention which record or document is involved. This can be a sales order number, invoice number, contact name, product name, delivery order, purchase order, subscription, or support ticket. Fourth, if there is an error, copy the complete error message exactly as shown. Fifth, add screenshots of the complete screen, not only a small cropped piece. And sixth, tell us what you expected to happen and what happened instead. That combination usually gives us enough to start real analysis immediately. The first important detail is location. Please tell us exactly where you are in Odoo, which application, which menu, and which screen or view. For example, instead of saying, "I have a problem in Odoo," say, "In the Sales app, on a quotation, when I click Confirm," or "In Accounting on the customer invoice INV 2026 or 124, or in Inventory during validation of a delivery order." Odoo has many apps and many screens. If we know exactly where you were, we can reproduce the scenario much faster. The second important detail is the scenario. Please describe the steps you followed before the issue happened. For example, "I opened the quotation, I added a product, I clicked Confirm, I created the invoice, I tried to post it. Then the error appeared." This is much more useful than only saying, "I cannot create an invoice." We also need to know whether the issue happens every time or only in one specific case. If it is repeatable, that helps us test and isolate the cause. The third important point is reference data. We need to know exactly on which record the behavior occurs. Please include identifiers such as sales order number, invoice number, delivery, order number, purchase order number, product code, customer, or vendor, name, subscription number, ticket number. If possible, always give the exact reference, not just a description. For example, instead of saying, "It is wrong on a customer invoice," say, It happens on invoice INV 2026-L124 for customer ABC Trading. That allows us to go directly to the right record. If Odoo shows an error message, please send us the complete text exactly as it appears. This is extremely important. Please do not summarize it with phrases like, "It says something about access," "There is a warning about taxes," "I got a server error." The exact wording matters. A single line in an error message can tell us whether the issue is related to access rights, missing configuration, automation, accounting rules, validation, or customizations. So whenever possible, copy and paste the full message. If that is not possible, make a full screenshot of the error. Screenshots are very helpful, but only when they show the complete context. A cropped screenshot of only one small error box is often not enough. We prefer screenshots that show the full Odoo screen, the application and menu, the record that is open, the buttons that were clicked, the pop-up or error in full, and if possible, the browser URL as well. Why? Because the surrounding screen often contains important clues: which view you are in, which company is active, what the document status is, or which action was available. A complete screenshot gives context that a cropped image often removes. One more thing that helps a lot is explaining the difference between expected and actual behavior. For example, I expected the invoice to be posted, but Odoo blocked it. I expected the delivery to reserve stock, but nothing was reserved. I expected the automation to create a task, but no task was created. This helps us understand whether the issue is a bug, a configuration problem, a misunderstanding of the process, or a missing step in the workflow. Let's compare a weak support request with a strong one. A weak request says, "Invoice gives error, please check." That gives us almost nothing to work with. A strong request says, "In accounting on customer invoice INV 2026-124 for ABC Trading, I clicked confirm and then post." Odoo shows the attached error message. This happens every time on this invoice. I expected the invoice to post normally. Full screenshot attached. With that second message, support can usually start immediately. That is the level of detail we are aiming for. To make things easy, we recommend using a simple support template whenever you report an issue. For example, app or module, menu or screen. What I was doing, customer, product or document reference, exact error message, expected result, actual result, screenshot or screenshots. Even a short message becomes much more effective when structured like this. So to conclude, when reporting an issue or requesting a change in Odoo, please do not only tell us that something is wrong, tell us where it happens, what you are doing, which record is involved, what the exact error says, and show us the full screen. That extra detail saves time for everyone. It reduces back and forth communication, improves the quality of analysis, and gets you to a solution much faster. Thank you.